Welcome to Our Thoughts Tonight.
We are here on Our Thoughts Tonight, and it is a very special Zoom episode. And Ashoka's here,
Hello.
and I'm your host, Ron DeSantis.
Oh God. Surprisingly, I didn't think he did as bad this time around as last time. But Ron DeSantis, give me your debate analysis for fucking the whole United States debt.
I,
Tonight, yeah.
I would
Tonight we're
say there were no winners.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. There were a few that like maybe you can make an argument, but like last time. Well, before we get into it, obviously this is our second debate analysis of the Republican primary, which to say, aka, is basically who's in the Trump wins, and that's not even really accurate either. Yeah. I don't think there were any winners either. I think the last one, there were like some people you could say were winners, but not this one. I don't think so at all. They all seemed
Mhm.
so bad.
Yeah,
They were all really
definitely.
bad.
It
Yeah.
was all kind of like a shit show for sure, and it really seemed like the true losers were the American people, as I told you earlier. That was my feeling. Like, where are we in
Yeah.
society where the where this is um where we are in society, I guess.
I definitely think, what's it called? I think Vivek did terrible this time around. I mean, he was dogpiled the first debate. This one, he was dogpiled even more. I don't think he had like the showmanship as the last one. I feel like, I mean, it seemed like he kind of toned it down this debate a little bit, which has invited more dogpile on him. Um, so I don't think he did well. Like in the last one, there was a argument for him, but. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like Tim Scott, for some reason, was talking way more than he really should have. Like that this was an entire debate with people with polls. Like I've never seen a debate like that or heard of a debate like that where no one's even in the conversation. Really, it's just Trump.
No, it's
It's just
just
like why?
shouting.
Yeah, it's just why? Like
And the funny thing is, I have a theory as to why that's the case, but um Tim Scott's just mediocre
yeah,
as a whole. But yeah, I think a lot of these
yeah,
guys, they watched the last one, they like got their analytics and got their like they probably had all sorts of polling done on how what people thought about whatever it is that was occurring.
uh-huh.
And what ended up happening was that it showed that when they said this thing, that the crowd liked it more. When they said that,
Oh
the crowd
yeah,
liked it more. So they probably generated like canned responses or something similar
yeah.
to those last responses, and that just never turns out well because a lot of the times that's like a lightning in a bottle situation.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I think the only caveat to that was so Chris Christie's obviously super anti-Trump and he said it like every 5 seconds, but in the beginning so did on a side point but still the same point, DeSantis agreed with Christie and like also like piled on Trump a little bit, which is surprising because in the first debate everyone booed Christie for going against Trump. So it was actually nice to see DeSantis, I suppose, go against Trump. Um, but yeah, speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed, but there were two times where people straight up just copied Chris Christie. Like Chris Christie said, who should be here, who's not Trump. And then like a second later, DeSantis said the same line because I'm sure he had it written down or something or whatever. He just literally copied what he said. It was kind of
Yeah.
awkward. And then later, the whole the sleeping with the wife thing that Chris Christie said about Joe Biden. And then Pence said that with his wife, and it was like, why are you guys just copying his lines? Like I know it's kind of supposed to be a joke, but it was just like he's right there. Just he just said a line, you guys are just copying him. Um
Yeah. It was
yeah, it was
awkward for sure. There was so many awkward moments because they were all
yeah,
trying to be performing. And
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
and that's usually the case, but they were really making it obvious this time around.
Yeah.
And
What's it called?
do, should we
I don't
pull
know,
up
talk.
some clips or should we just keep
Yeah,
talking?
I'm okay with some clips. I was just gonna say the part with Pence's wife. Yeah, well, that was probably the most exciting part of the debate was just Pence admitting he's had sex.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
yeah. It was something
yeah,
about I've been sleeping with a teacher or something for X,
yeah,
Y, Z. Yeah.
yeah, awkward. I was gonna say you should. I will say, as for like quote unquote winners, I guess you could kind of. I mean, I think it's kind of the same as last time, where I think Nikki Haley. I mean, I don't know. I think Nikki Haley and Chris Christie were like better, I suppose. Like Haley didn't. Haley was like pretty good the first debate. I wouldn't say good, but pretty good the first debate. And then this one, she just kept getting into arguments with people. And then Chris Christie again was like cool because he's anti-Trump, but it's like he made those like that lame ass like Donald Duck joke, which is like
Yeah,
cringe.
that really was lame
So
ass.
yeah,
It
no
was
one's on the
weak,
game.
man.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Okay.
buildup was good. I was like getting excited. Like, oh man, he's going good. And then he just said Donald Duck. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah, what in the world was he thinking there? That was really not good.
God. Yeah, it was bad. I think I will say that I was just weird because I mean usually I would say this is a good thing, but this was very policy focused for a Republican debate. I feel like
Yeah, but it was all stuff they
like
agreed on for the most part.
yeah, but I mean just the mere fact that they're like talking about something more specific, like I think that's good. You should pull up if there's a clip of Pence and his wife, maybe.
Okay,
That's
okay.
pretty good. Yeah, yeah.
Pence. Sick
I
bastard,
don't even know
that
what
guy.
highlights are there.
Look, I do disagree with something Tim Scott just said. Joe Biden doesn't belong on a picket line. He belongs on the unemployment line. As President of the United States, I'll be standing with workers all across America, and I'll be standing for the right to work of every American to join a union or not join a union as they decide.
I'm noticing a lot of anti-union rhetoric, obviously, because it's the Republicans, but so much for being like the working man's party or whatever the hell they're claiming themselves to be these days.
Yeah, no, this debate was way worse than the first one for anti-union stuff. Yeah, I feel like it was pretty bad. That and China were like the main two themes of this debate, I would say.
Of course.
And like, yeah, I mean, it's always China. Yeah.
Xenophobia and fear of collectivism.
Yeah.
The government shuts down.
I like how
populist.
I don't know if you noticed, but like throughout the entire debate, none of them answered questions, obviously, but they would always pivot to the border or China. Like
talking points.
The first question was asked was about like the protests or whatever, and I think it was Tim Scott. He just immediately pivoted to the border, and I think Doug Burgum, his North Dakotan ass, was like they never answer questions, talked about China or his state that no one cares about. It was just really annoying. Like they would just pivot hard to things that they weren't even supposed to talk about.
Republicans?
Voters should blame everybody who's in Washington, D.C.
Where's Joe Biden? He's completely missing in action from leadership. And you know who else is missing in action? Donald Trump is missing in action. He should be on this stage tonight. He owes it to you to defend his record where they added $7.8 trillion to the debt.
And I want to look.
He's not wrong.
No,
I mean, it's a very basic talking point, but he's not wrong.
No, he's right. I'm just pissed about again, Chris Christie just said it.
Yeah, right before.
And then he says it and it gets applause. It's like you were the one. He said it like this. He used the same words too, which is really fucking funny. It's like I don't know. Yeah, they're right though.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like, just go for it. You don't need the fucking statistics. The canned responses. Just if they would think like, oh, if I'm naturally reactive to the things these people are saying, I will probably be better at the debate naturally. But they can't think that far because they're thinking too hard about being liked.
That's how Trump does it, and that's how even Chris Christie does it to a certain extent, not entirely, but
Chris Christie does seem the most natural out of everyone there.
Yeah, that's how they win debates and stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Again, he was the Trump before Trump, really, at least in terms of like debates. Yeah.
I saw that photo of him today, where I saw that photo of him where he's. I wish I could pull it up, but
Is it?
where he like is wearing a belt and he's wearing these like cargo shorts and they're just like riding up to his neck practically. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
He's kind of lovable. I gotta give it to him. I
Yeah.
mean, I hate all these guys,
yeah.
but he is kind of lovable. You're a big Christie fan.
Yeah. I mean, he's corrupt too, and he, yeah, he left his position in New Jersey. I think the most hated politician, at the time. I think something like that by his like constituents or whatever.
Not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on this stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
You have said.
Oh man, that is so bad. And also, he's totally just trying to get a job at CNN.
Yeah.
It's so clear.
God damn it, man.
Trying to extend some media contracts.
Speaking of post-election stuff, I don't know. I mean, that's possible too. I was just thinking, in the scenario that Trump wins, which I don't know how likely it is, it's definitely it's possible. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm inclined to think that he'd be part of the new cabinet or some sort of position, or even if that didn't happen, he would still support Trump. I feel like he became president. Like, I don't know how much of a backbone Christie has.
You're talking about the Saudi stuff, right? Or I mean the Kushner stuff.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's why he wasn't in the administration in the first place with Kushner. But he still supported Trump at the beginning. So I feel like if Trump were to win again, I mean, I feel like Christie would still support Trump. Like, he's just going after him now because Trump's quote unquote vulnerable. Yeah, I don't know. He's an opportunist, just like all of them.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Slaves develop skills in spite of slavery, not because of it. But many are still hurt. For descendants of slaves, this is personal. What is your message to them?
So first of all, that's a hoax that was perpetrated by Kamala Harris. We are not going to be doing that. Second of all, that was written by descendants of slaves. These are great Black history scholars, so we need to stop playing these games.
There is not.
I don't know the details of this, but I've heard of it, and I can't. I'm sure something like this is very likely to actually happen. I don't know how he's covering for himself there.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a conspiracy. Also, him. I mean, didn't he just contradict himself? He's like, that was a hoax by Kamala Harris, and then he said,
yeah, and then he said, but these people wrote this,
so it must be right or something.
Yeah, it's like an immediate contradiction.
Which is already
what the hell?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Maybe he has some explanation for it, and he's just trying to fit it in, but it sounds sketchy.
Yeah. Plus, what he said is still bad with like descendants of slaves wrote this, like, like somehow that makes it like valid.
Right.
Yeah, it's insane. And Tim Scott's response, oh my god. Yeah, we should listen to this.
These are great Black history scholars, so we need to stop playing these games.
There is not a redeeming quality in slavery. He and Kamala should have just taken the one sentence out.
I have a radical idea for the Republican Party. We need to win elections. And part of how we win elections is...
I don't know if it was cutting off from my end or from the video, but, Tim Scott, countered DeSantis' he was like, oh, he should take it out or whatever. But in the debate, he goes on to say that, Black families survived slavery, survived Jim Crow and all that stuff. But what they couldn't survive was the Great Society, which was like, he just literally compared that to slavery and said it was worse, essentially. Like,
what is that?
I think it was it's basically like welfare programs, I think, that were set up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and he compares that to like again, to slavery, and to say like that's what screwed up African Americans was welfare, not slavery. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, how do you even convince? How are you supposed to convince somebody of that? I don't understand.
Yeah,
like that is some really twisted logic. Like, yeah, the thing that helps people who have been are in a hard position. Somehow you're trying to convince, and it works too. That like rhetoric works on so many people. That it more so works on people that are like white voters, not some. I would assume, I don't know any statistics, but they hear that and they're like, they're giving our money away or whatever to people who aren't working as hard, is what their rhetoric ends up being.
Yeah, it's just racist. It's pretty bad.
Definitely.
Is reaching the next generation of young Americans where they are. So when I get into office, I've been very clear. Kids under the age of 16 should not be.
Vivek's hair is so tall. I don't know if you noticed that. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, it's hard last time.
Using addictive social media.
This is infuriating because TikTok is one of the most dangerous social media apps that we could have. And what you've got, I honestly, every time I hear you, I feel a little bit dumber for what you say. You've gone and you've helped China make medicines in China, not America. You're now wanting kids to go and get on this social media that's dangerous for all of us.
If you were to ask these people why they think social media is dangerous, they would have the worst reasons for why, not the ones that are actually, not the reasons that are actually legitimate, like it causes body dysmorphia or psychological contrast effects that are harmful. They say it's probably because they think China's siphoning information or whatever the hell it is.
No, that's the thing, is like, I don't think I would support anything like banning social media for people under 16, but like, yeah, I mean, I get the sentiment of like social media, but yeah, you're right. They're not going into it with the right reasons.
They don't really care. No, it's feigning populism.
Sorry, you cut out like major there. I didn't hear. I was gonna respond. What'd you say?
I said they're feigning populism as if they're populists.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, surprisingly support Vivek's like, at least attempt, to like go to young people. Like, yeah, you should probably do that. Which I just, from a purely strategical point, that's obviously what you should do. And then, but it's still, I still find it hypocritical. Like, in his mind, TikTok is, Chinese, whatever. Like, if we're to, be convinced of that narrative, his history and his like action with TikTok or whatever is hypocritical in his own mind, or at least should be hypocritical. So, I don't know. And then Nikki Haley saying, dumber was like amazing, even though it's like the wrong time to be making that statement. She was like, it's totally true. Like, anytime Vivek talks, it's like he's just, I don't know, like rotting your brain.
Totally. And if you listen to what they say and the points they're making, these aren't things they actually believe for the most. Maybe they believe them like with a grain of salt, but this is what they think regular people actually think. So this, if you look at how caricaturized it is, this is how they view regular people, as like just vacant and unable to really understand their own or unable to think for themselves, or just stupid, mindless, large masses of people that they can just say these basic right-wing talking points and get them to believe them. And they can for a lot of people, like they can get them on their side. But at the same time, a lot of people can see through this stuff.
I think that's to an extent true. I would just say that like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to. I think there's like a significant base in the Republican base that just eats this stuff up. And it's not like, I don't know how to word it. Like, for example, if Vivek, or whoever were to say, like, I like Trump, then I feel for it. Even if they sound like a standard politician, like, oh, he said he likes Trump, then I trust any word that he says, even though he seems to be bullshitting. Like, I feel like beyond reason and beyond even like normal stupidity or whatever, I think a lot of this stuff is tied to just how loyal these guys are to Trump. Like
Yeah,
or how
totally.
like yeah, it's like I imagine a Republican seeing this debate and their opinion being completely, shaped or morphed by these guys' relations to Trump. Almost nothing with what they are actually saying. I mean, maybe not for all of them, but I think a significant portion at least.
$1 million. We can't trust you.
Polls don't elect presidents. Voters elect presidents.
Right.
And we're going to take the case of the people in these early states. We're going to do it in a state-by-state direction. And why? Because as Reagan said in his day,
I will say this. I liked where they debated. I liked the it was a nice window in the background. It was kind of like refreshing for a debate stage, the Reagan Center, or whatever the hell it was. Not that like the memorabilia or whatever of Reagan and the plane or anything good, but that's like the only positive thing about the debate is, I like, it was bright in the beginning, like of the lighting. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
bad.
even the moderation was garbage from what I saw,
Yeah.
Like nobody even tried to stop the crosstalk that they were having, and it was just a nightmare. In fact, it reminded me of when we would do the podcast and like when somebody had drank too much booze.
Yeah. That's a good comparison, actually. I will say, I think, I mean, I don't know. I feel like some of the moderators tried to do it, but they just got drowned out in the voices. It's like, I mean, this was definitely the most chaotic. Like even in the old debates with Trump in 2016, it was chaotic in the sense that Trump was unhinged. But like, I mean, people shouted over each other, but it wasn't like this where it was just like, it's kind of a joke. And they're all polling at like 2 to 5%. Like, what gives you the right to like scream? Like where no one's
They're all
really
banking on the fact that they might get a cabinet position, or alternatively that Trump will have to drop out because of all the indictments and stuff, so they might get second or whatever. So Ron DeSantis likely, or I think DeSantis is probably right behind Trump, right?
I wouldn't say right behind. I think the last thing I saw
I mean,
was...
like in terms of like, not in terms of percentage, but in terms of
yeah. He's a bit behind Trump, but and not in percentage, obviously. I think I don't know how true it is. I don't know. Last poll I saw was like 2 weeks ago, but the all these guys together apparently don't even like, even if they all coalesced all their numbers into one person, they still wouldn't reach Trump's number, which is just insane. I think.
What do you think is going to happen with Vivek after this?
Man, if Trump becomes president, he'll for sure get a cabinet position. If he doesn't, I don't know. I mean, he'll be doing something. I don't think this is like the end of Vivek or anything. Whether that's like something social, like online. I think he seems like someone who'd be like a influencer, like a Shapiro type or Peterson type or something like that. Plus, like, there's still 2028, and the scenario that Biden wins. I don't think Trump would run again. I mean, he'll probably be in jail by then, hopefully. But if not, I don't know if he would run again. So if not him, see, here's my guess for the next 4 or 5 years. These guys will return. Like DeSantis and Vivek, I think, would return. But you know who'd also come back? Fucking Don Jr. And he would crush that shit.
Oh yeah,
he would garner all that Trump support just because he's the son of Trump and beat these guys again. It's like, these guys have no hope as long as Trump and his family.
I have no doubt that he will try that. Because you can tell by the way when he like has media appearances and stuff that he's got the. I mean, everyone jokes that he looks coked up and stuff, and maybe he does. But he definitely can talk to a camera, whether I don't think he's very good at it, but he's not afraid to do it. And I don't really, I mean, he's a scumbag himself, but he definitely can get up there.
The GOP event like a few years ago, I mean, him and his wife definitely looked like they were on something.
Yeah. That was really, it was nightmarish.
Yeah. I'm, what's it called? I am worried about Trump coming back. I mean, years ago I was worried, and then as these like indictments or whatever have been happening, I've been less worried. But like the polls haven't been looking good for Biden, and I know it's like kind of early; it's a year away, but I mean, this it's like last time, but I think even worse. Where there was a poll where Trump was up 10 points, which is probably not accurate, but the average is around Trump is up right now, plus 1 or 2 points. This changes all the time, but like, I don't know. It's still worrying, and I think it's because like there hasn't been like the last month or two too much news about Trump going on, like in his indictment stuff. It's just been kind of in the background. So it's like it's like the same thing with Biden, where like if you're not in the news, your numbers start going up. That wasn't Trump before. But in the past with Trump, if no one talked about Trump, his numbers went down. But it's for some reason changed where if nothing's going on with Trump, his numbers go up. So obviously when the election time comes up, that'll change. He'll be in the news. And I'm hoping that would have a negative effect. But yeah, I don't know. It's still bonkers that he still has a chance to come back, even after everything that's happened so far. It's insane.
I think the reason for that is partially because like Trump's numbers going down and Biden's, or I mean, I don't know about Biden's numbers. I think they've been pretty stagnant and low, but I would assume that if Trump's numbers are going up and he's not being covered, it's because they're covering typically the failures of the Biden administration more often than not.
Yeah. That's probably the case too.
But also, I don't know, did you catch Biden on the picket line?
No, I didn't. I didn't even know what they were talking about. I haven't been up to date.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like he was down there for the GM, I believe, that conglomerate union.
Yeah.
And he was on the picket line and he's like, Wall Street didn't build America. Middle class did. Factory workers.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I mean, obviously Biden is, yeah, he's right. That's the thing with Biden. I mean, I don't want to say, I mean, I don't like Biden, but he is like on a technical level, I think one of the more progressive. I don't want to say progressive. He's been more progressive than the last like handful of presidents. Which is
as much as I am also, anti-Democrat and anti-Republican, like equally. He has done things like I mean, I was just seeing it in town 2 days ago, or like earlier this week. There was like they're giving out grants to companies to develop infrastructure across the board. So yeah, I just saw that in town, and it's probably across the board. So I mean, that's big,
Yeah, I mean, infrastructure bill, the CHIP Act, and then like he didn't like do. I mean, he I know Trump was the one kind of initiating leaving Afghanistan, but Biden continued it, so that's still good. And obviously his attempts with the student loans or whatever, and even with like drilling, because he approved like this one pipeline in Alaska, right, the one that everyone talked about, and then he denied another one, which was interesting. Recently, I think like a few weeks ago or something. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's not bad. I don't know. Like
he's making some moves for sure, and I can't say he's good because he's still a U.S. president and like an imperialist and
by nature.
And like as far as like the lack of pushing for peace in Ukraine, that I'm always going to be critical of that. But some of the moves domestically have been like forgivable and decent for sure.
Yeah. Plus, what's it called? I don't know how much this has to do with it, but I'd wager it's a good bit. And maybe, I mean, it's probably my bias showing, but like, I feel like Bernie Sanders has something to do with this because Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are friends. Like they're actually like legitimately like semi-friends, and Sanders gets a lot of like shit on because he, especially the last few years, he's like kind of given up. They say like, oh, he does not given up, but like he doesn't go after Democrats as much as he used to. And he always responds with, or at least I don't think he responds with, I think he alludes to like, if I'm nice to them, I can get inside their meetings or whatever and influence them. And he's done that before, like back in like during the Trump years or whatever. So he was able to do that. And I think his relationship with Biden might be a factor. Because I mean, Biden, I think historically has been like not leftist, but like a few points left than like Obama or Clinton or whatever. So it's still right wing in general. But I'm just wondering how much Bernie has influence because of his relationship with Biden. And like he did campaign for Biden in 2020. He wasn't like vindictive or whatever, and people shut on him for that. But I don't know, he might be in the background doing stuff. He's not like someone he's been arguing the same thing for like decades. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Biden is, I feel like, I mean, always the problem with Biden is like his age or whatever, but at this point, like both Trump and Biden are old. Like the same people who say so much about Biden being old and it's cognitive dissonance, like Trump's like almost there to, he's almost the same thing. So it's almost like a non-talking point to me anymore.